Hey Waffle Crew, I hope you're all doing great. I'm Mark, and today we're diving into more relationship tales. If you enjoy Reddit stories, consider giving a thumbs up, subscribing, and maybe even hitting that notification bell. Let's jump into our first story, shared by user DFE7205, titled, My Mom Wants to Reconnect After Kicking Me Out 2 years ago for her boyfriend, who tormented me in high school. My father passed away when I was just a baby, leaving my mom and me to navigate life together. We were incredibly tight-knit. When I was in my second year of high school, my mom took a part-time job as a gym instructor at my school. I was okay with it when she asked if I'd be fine with her working there, but I wasn't okay with the crude remarks some guys made about her looks. One guy, Brad, who was a year older, used this as fuel to harass me. He'd throw vile comments about my mom my way. When he graduated, I thought I was finally free of him. I was mistaken. By my senior year, my mom started going out a lot. At first I was thrilled she was socializing and hoped she'd meet someone kind, but soon she was barely around. It felt like she was dodging me. Whenever I tried to plan time with her, she already had other commitments. I kept quiet, not wanting to seem clingy. I even brushed it off when she missed my birthday because she was out all night. She apologized the next day, and I said it was fine. After 6 months of this, I decided to speak up. I asked her to have dinner with me, just us. She claimed she was too busy. Frustrated, I confronted her, saying she was neglecting me. She snapped back that she wasn't ignoring me, but had her own life to live. That stung deeply. Out of frustration, I gave her the silent treatment for a few days. Eventually, she apologized, but said she had something important to discuss. She wanted me to meet her boyfriend over dinner. Her tone sounded uneasy, almost reluctant. When the doorbell rang, she opened it, and I was floored. It was Brad. I nearly yelled, demanding to know why he was there. Brad stepped forward, admitting the situation was awkward, but claiming he regretted how he treated me in school and genuinely cared for my mom. She urged us to sit so she could explain. I lost it, shouting, "I don't care about your explanation! You pushed me aside for this jerk! You're a terrible mother!" She defended him, saying, "Don't call him that." She promised to keep their relationship separate from me to make it work for everyone. Then she added, "If you don't like it, you're free to leave." I packed my things immediately, called my grandma, and told her everything. She drove over, had a heated argument with my mom, and I left with her. My mom tried calling for weeks, but I blocked her. She even showed up at my grandma's, but I called the police. After that, she stopped trying. 2 years passed without contact until yesterday, when she called, saying it was urgent and we needed to meet. I'm torn about going. User Bitter Hero comments, "It's unsettling that your mom is dating someone your age, possibly her former student. That's inappropriate, especially considering he bullied you. If you're open to meeting her, maybe go with your grandma for support. Otherwise, insist she explains over the phone or in writing." Stella advises, "Do you even want to talk to her? You don't owe her anything. If it's truly urgent, she should say why up front. Is she sick, broke, or something else? Text her asking what's up and keep it documented. Don't agree to a call or meeting unless you're ready." Typical agency suggests 3 possibilities. 1, she's pregnant. 2, she's getting married. 3, they split up. Is she still at the school? If so, she should be reported and sacked. Stoner Boner says, "I'm so sorry. That's genuinely horrific. Only meet her if you're prepared for disappointment. I'd go out of curiosity, but not to rebuild anything. Her actions show who she is. She's hurt you before and likely will again. I'm no contact with my mom. I'm a 30-year-old woman. She once hired my bully to babysit me when I was 8, and they were 16. Cherish your grandma, stay resilient, and expect nothing from her." Another user, Where He, adds, "Your mom's dating your high school tormentor? Toss her out of your life. No decent parent would prioritize a guy who hurt their kid. She seems to value him over you. From your story, she comes off as callous. I'd walk away." The original poster, OP, updates. "Curiosity and a need to vent got the better of me. I texted my mom asking where to meet. She suggested lunch at a restaurant at noon. I had no classes, so I went. When I arrived, a woman shouted my name. It was my mom, whom I hadn't seen in 2 years. She said she wanted to hug me, but knew I'd refuse. Her voice trembled as she led me to a table where Brad sat. He barely acknowledged me, just nodding without eye contact. As we sat, my mom fired off questions. How's life? Are you in college? How's it going? Irritated, I cut her off, saying, Stop wasting my time. What do you want? She asked if they could explain how their relationship started. I said, Fine. For those suggesting I report her to the school board, I should clarify. They never interacted when Brad was a student. He only knew her because his friends took photos of her before gym class and shared them. He approached her at a bar, and she didn't recognize him. He admitted he'd graduated from her school recently. Feeling lonely, she jokingly said she wouldn't snitch about his underage drinking if he hung out with her. They swapped numbers and started meeting up. She admitted she knew I'd be uneasy about her dating someone my age, so she hid it, thinking it'd be a fling. But it grew serious. When she brought up introducing him to me, he warned it wasn't a good idea. She thought I'd just dislike the age gap, but he confessed to bullying me. My mom teared up, saying she was horrified and couldn't sleep from guilt. She felt too ashamed to face me. She blocked him, but a week later, he messaged her on social media, begging to meet. He showed up with flowers, claimed he'd apologized to me, he had, sort of, and swore he'd changed. She took him back and invited him to that dinner. Sobbing, she begged for my forgiveness, saying the past 2 years were agonizing. Brad chimed in, saying, She misses you so much, man. She needs you. My mom apologized for being a terrible mother and said they wanted to make amends. They're moving to California and offered to pay for my education and living expenses if I'd join them, promising I'd have a permanent home. I burst into uncontrollable laughter. It was absurd. Then, I unleashed what I'd come to say. Mom, you're delusional if you think I'll ever forgive you. You're dead to me. The only time I'll acknowledge you is to spit on your grave. She broke down, crying hysterically. I stood, left the restaurant, and walked to the parking lot. A minute later, I heard her yelling at Brad to stop chasing me. He grabbed my shirt, and I turned and punched him in the face. He fell, bleeding from his mouth. My mom restrained me, screaming for me to stop. I told him, That's what I think of your offer. It's been 4 hours, and I know I should feel guilty, but I feel incredible, like I reclaimed my power. Someone asked how Brad, barely older than me, could afford to pay for my college. I don't know what he does. My mom, though, has saved money since my dad died. She once promised that if I got good grades, she'd take out a loan to cover my education and repay it herself. What do you all think of this mess? Share your thoughts below, and let's move to the next story. Our second story comes from user mom 0000678, titled, Am I wrong for making my daughter spend time with her aunt? My 16-year-old daughter has been avoiding my sister, whom I'll call Helen. Helen visits every Monday and Thursday, bringing dinner and catching up with me and my husband. We love her company, and it's great to have 2 meals a week already prepared. My daughter, whom I'll call Amy, has been dodging Helen like she's contagious. On those days, Amy leaves by 10 a.m. to hang out with friends or her boyfriend, not returning until 10:30 p.m. She's upfront about where she's going and always makes curfew, so we know she's not up to trouble. I also track her phone, which she's aware of. She's been doing this since July. Recently, Helen noticed Amy's never around during her visits and feels hurt, as she adores Amy and wants to connect. Last Thursday, after Amy came home and Helen left, I asked why she avoids her aunt. Amy exploded, crying and yelling that Helen is awful to her, makes her feel worthless, and is mentally manipulative and gaslights her. I got upset, told her she was exaggerating, and said Helen's actions come from love and she can't help it. Amy kept shouting about how terrible Helen is. I called her a spoiled brat and confiscated her phone and electronics. Today, I told her she must stay home Mondays and Thursdays and spend an hour with Helen. If she refuses, she'll be grounded for 2 weeks with no devices. Amy cried, maybe trying to manipulate me, and begged to only do Mondays. I refused and reminded her of the consequences. She called me a jerk and said hurtful things. I told Helen, who thanked me for making Amy stay, as she truly loves her. My husband thinks I went too far with the punishment, but agrees Amy's acting bratty. Amy exploded, crying and yelling that Helen is awful to her, makes her feel worthless, and is mentally manipulative, and gaslights her. I got upset, told her she was exaggerating, and said Helen's actions come from love and she can't help it. Amy kept shouting about how terrible Helen is. I called her a spoiled brat and confiscated her phone and electronics. Today, I told her she must stay home Mondays and Thursdays and spend an hour with Helen. If she refuses, she'll be grounded for 2 weeks with no devices. Amy cried, maybe trying to manipulate me, and begged to only do Mondays. I refused and reminded her of the consequences. She called me a jerk and said hurtful things. I told Helen, who thanked me for making Amy stay as she truly loves her. My husband thinks I went too far with the punishment but agrees Amy's acting bratty. So, am I wrong for making my daughter spend time with her aunt? I think I'm right, but I'd love your input. Edit. Amy has shared some hurtful things Helen said or did in the past. I've addressed these with Helen, who apologized and wants to reconcile, but Amy won't budge. To clarify, when Amy was younger, she spent lots of time at Helen's. Helen's blunt and doesn't hold back. She'd comment on Amy's eating habits, too much or too little, and say she looked unattractive or other critical things. Amy claims Helen forced her to eat even when uncomfortable. Amy won't share everything, so I only know about these remarks, which happened years ago. Second edit. I love both Amy and Helen. Helen owns her mistakes, but Amy refuses to accept her apology. I paused when Amy called Helen mentally abusive and a gaslighter, and the mom dismissed it as overreacting. My jaw dropped when the edit revealed Helen criticized Amy's eating and appearance, which could cause serious issues. Amy's so uncomfortable she avoids being home, yet her mom downplays her feelings and forces her to interact with Helen. That's harsh. A deleted user comments, "You don't get to dismiss your daughter's emotions. Doing so risks her resenting you, rebelling, or cutting you off when she moves out. If you can't take her feelings seriously, you're failing as a parent." Edit. Thanks for the support. To those whose feelings were minimized, I feel you. I suppressed my own emotions for years, losing myself. It took ages to find my voice. Don't let anyone silence yours. User Days says, "You're wrong. When a teen avoids an adult like that, it's likely true what she's saying. You're prioritizing your sister over your daughter, and it'll cost you later." Edit. The tracker, calling her a brat for expressing discomfort and ignoring why she avoids Helen, are red flags. This screams missing reasons. Edit 2. Helen forced her to eat and made cruel comments since childhood, but it's fine because she's trying to improve? Shocking. Vultures. Everywhere adds, "You're setting yourself up for your daughter to cut you off as an adult. You're wrong. Why should she care about your feelings when you disregard hers? She's smart to distance herself, and you don't deserve her." Inside, sympathy says, "You're wrong. You and your sister seem to enjoy hurting your daughter under the guise of love. You gaslight her when she speaks up. You said she can't avoid Helen forever. It's easy once she's 18. Support her, or she'll avoid you too. Be a better mom before it's too late." Queen of Swords comments, "You're wrong. Your daughter goes to extremes to avoid someone she says abuses her, and you dismiss her and force interaction? What's wrong with you? Imagine being mistreated by someone with power over you, only to be called a brat and punished? Your child comes before your sister. Why is she so desperate to avoid Helen? You admit she's honest about her whereabouts, so why assume she's dramatic?" OP updates. I've read most responses and messages, and they've been eye-opening. I realize I'm wrong and have no excuses. I apologize to Amy, saying we can talk when she's ready, and that she doesn't have to forgive me. I'll discuss Helen with her when she's comfortable. I told Helen not to visit for a few weeks without explaining why. I won't confront her until Amy's okay, as Amy's suffered the most. That's the last update we have. I'd love to know how this unfolds, as Amy's clearly going through a lot. What do you think of this situation? Drop your thoughts below. A huge thanks for engaging with today's stories. Your support means everything. See you in the next one. Take care, and much love.